If your back shocks are worn out and you need a reliable replacement for your 2018 or newer four-door JL Wrangler, this Bilstein V8 5100 series rear shock for 0 to 1.5 inches of lift is a great option to consider. Now this is an intermediate shock option that is made for the hybrid driving style. Perfect for the Wrangler owners who want a consistent, long-lasting, and adaptable shock for whatever driving style that they may have, whether you are off-road often or just once in a while. Now, while offering solid on and off-road performance, it's also a great upgrade from factory and leaves your Wrangler room to grow if you are starting at a stock height, you need a replacement, and want to pair this with additional height later down the line. Now, I do want to mention that this shock is sold individually, so if you do need both for the back of your Wrangler, you will have to pick up a set of two in order for them to match. This features a monotube gas charge design, which allows for some stiffer performance for reduced bounce and more control while you're driving, which is helpful on the street for minimized body roll and even in the back, reducing extra sag if you're carrying a lot of gear with you day to day. The design also eliminates aeration of the oil inside of the shock, which is what causes that shock fade or that squishy feeling that you may have with your factory ones. So you can expect this to tackle those tougher terrains while also expecting fade-free and consistent performance, resulting in a longer lifespan no matter what terrain that you and your JL are tackling. Now this shock also has something called velocity sensitive digressive valving, which essentially allows this to be very adaptable to the terrain that you are on. So it softens up a little bit when the piston is moving faster, like higher speed off-road driving or really quick bumps, allowing for a more comfortable and cushioned experience with those circumstances. Now on the other hand, when the shaft is moving at a lower speed, like on the highway or a smoother road, it is a little bit stiffer for some more control and less body roll. So again, this is going to adapt to whatever terrain that you're on to make sure that you are comfortable in your JL. Now this has an alloy shock body for good durability and heat dissipation and is zinc plated with a clear coat on top to prevent any rusting or corrosion on the metal underneath. It also has a chrome hardened 14mm piston rod that is tough enough to take some abuse and avoid any leaking, but also has an extra layer of protection with the included rubber boot on top. And this also has a 46mm piston on the inside to provide that application specific valving. The shock also includes neoprene rubber bushings that will provide a longer lifespan compared to factory and will help when it comes to the feel, especially if your current ones are worse for wear. Now this is about $175 per shock and about double that if you are looking for a pair of these. Now the V8 5100 series is definitely more of a mid-level or intermediate style option, it being much more durable and higher performing compared to some entry-level or OE style shocks, but it doesn't make the system too complicated or have any flashy bells and whistles that you may not need for your specific application. Now it balances out the price of the shock very well with the performance that it brings to the table, being a great choice if you need a durable and reliable shock for your JL. Install here is a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and it should take you about an hour to install for one shock. So if you are going to be installing two, you'll be looking at about 2 hours for the entire setup. Now at this point, I'm going to hand it over to one of our installers. They're going to show you a detailed breakdown on how you can get this bolted up to your JL at home. So that wraps it up for what I have to say. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
For this install, you will need an impact, a ratchet, 8mm socket, 18mm swivel socket, an 18mm wrench, a pry bar, and also not shown here is a pole jack or a jack and jack stands. What's up guys, today we're going to be doing a rear shock on our Wrangler, so let's get started. Alright, so we've got our Jeep in the air, we've got the rear wheels off, and the first thing we're going to need to remove is this small panel so we can access our upper shock mounting bolt. It's held in by a few 8mm screws, so we've got our 8mm socket on our ratchet and we'll pop those out first. We should have one down here as well. We're missing ours. Pull that out of the way. Next, we're going to loosen up our top mounting bolt with our 18mm swivel socket on our impact. Now we're going to get our bottom mounting bolt out. We do have a pole jack underneath our rear differential. Again, we're going to grab our 18mm swivel socket, and for this one we're going to need an 18mm wrench. Now we'll pop this out of its lower mounting position. Now we're going to support our shock and fully remove our upper mounting bolt. And we can remove our shock. Now once you've got this side out, you can repeat the same process on the other side. So now we'll get our new shock in place at the upper mounting position. We'll get that lined up and get our upper mounting bolt back in place. And we'll get this started. We're not going to tighten it just yet. Just make sure that's in there. We'll come back in and get our lower mounting bolt in. So now we're going to get our lower mounting point in. We're going to get this close to our cradle. And you may need a pry bar to help you get this in position. And we'll get our factory bolt back in place. And we'll get our 18mm nut back on. Now we'll come back in with our 18mm swivel and our 18mm wrench, tighten down our bottom bolt. And we're going to come back and tighten down our upper mounting bolt, again with our 18mm swivel. And we can reinstall our cover. Now we'll get our cover back in position, slide that in, line up your bolt holes, and we'll reinstall our 8mm screws. We'll just get them loosely in first. And we'll come back in with our 8mm socket and tighten those down. Now once you have this side on, you can repeat the same process for the other side. Alrighty folks, that about wraps up our review and install of our Bilstein B8 5100 series rear shock for a 0 to 1.5 inch lift on your 18 to current Jeep Wrangler JL 4-door. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Wrangler, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.